Pooh, Piglet, and the Winter Surprise for Eeyore, a tale of friendship and warmth one chilly morning. As snowflakes danced from the sky like little stars, Winnie the Pooh found himself with nothing to do. He peered out of his window, watching the snow blanket the 100-acre wood in white. "I know what I'll do," he said excitedly. "I'll visit Piglet and see what he's up to." Pooh put on his scarf and his warm, fuzzy hat, then stepped outside. The air was crisp, and his little paws left tiny prints in the fresh snow as he wandered down the familiar forest path. The snow crunched beneath his feet, and the trees were heavy with snow, making the woods look magical. As Pooh made his way to Piglet's house, he thought about all the fun things they could do. Perhaps they could build a snowman, or maybe they could sit by Piglet's warm fire and enjoy some honey. But when Pooh arrived, he found something surprising. Piglet's door was wide open, and there was no sign of his small friend. "Oh dear," said Pooh, scratching his head. Where could Piglet be? He peeked inside the house, but Piglet was not there. "I suppose he's out," Pooh said with a sigh. "Looks like I'll be going on a thinking walk all by myself today. Bother." Still, Pooh wasn't one to give up easily. Just to be sure, he knocked loudly on Piglet's door, hoping Piglet might magically appear. As he waited, Pooh began to bounce up and down in the snow to keep warm. And as he bounced, a little tune popped into his head. It was a happy, humming sort of tune, the kind you hum when you're in a good mood. "The more it snows, the more it goes on snowing. And nobody knows how cold my toes are growing." Pooh stopped bouncing for a moment and thought to himself, "This is a very good song. I should go and sing it to Eeyore." He knew that his friend Eeyore often felt gloomy, especially in winter. Maybe a cheerful song would help lift his spirits. With that thought in mind, Pooh hurried back to his own little house to fetch his muffler, because, of course, singing in the snow required proper winter attire. But when he opened his door, he was surprised once again. There, sitting in his best armchair, was none other than Piglet.
"Hallo, Piglet."
Pooh exclaimed. "I thought you were out." "No, Pooh," Piglet replied with a smile. "It's you who are out." "Oh, right," said Pooh, nodding. "I knew one of us was." He looked at his clock, which had stopped at 5 minutes to 11 many weeks ago. "It's nearly 11 o'clock. Just in time for a little smackerel of something." He opened his cupboard and fetched a jar of honey. After a delicious snack, Pooh told Piglet about the song he had come up with and his plan to visit Eeyore. Piglet thought it was a wonderful idea. "Let's go sing it to Eeyore right now," he said, full of excitement. So, Pooh and Piglet bundled up in their warmest scarves and mittens and set off into the snowy woods. The wind had calmed, and the snow fell gently around them like feathers from the clouds. Piglet's tiny ears soon became dusted with snowflakes, and Pooh's nose tingled from the cold. "Pooh," Piglet said after a while, "do you think we should practice your song first? Maybe we could sing it to Eeyore tomorrow, when it's not so cold." Pooh thought for a moment. "That's a good idea, Piglet," he said. "But this is a special outdoor song. It has to be sung in the snow." Piglet wasn't quite sure, but he trusted Pooh. Together, they sang as they walked. "The more it snows, the more it goes on snowing. And nobody knows how cold my toes are growing." They sang the song over and over, laughing at the funny tiddly-palms Piglet added. Their voices echoed through the snowy woods, making the whole forest feel alive and joyful. Eventually, they reached Eeyore's gloomy place, where their friend usually stayed. But Eeyore wasn't there. "Where could Eeyore be?" asked Piglet, his little voice filled with concern. "Maybe he's out looking for something," Pooh suggested. "Eeyore doesn't have a house like the rest of us, you know." Piglet stopped in his tracks. "That's right, Pooh. Eeyore doesn't have a house."
Poor Eeyore.
"He must be so cold." Pooh's eyes widened. "I've got it. Let's build Eeyore a house. A warm, cozy house made of sticks." Piglet's eyes lit up. "Oh, that's a grand idea, Pooh. Where should we build it?" "Right here," Pooh said, looking around. "Out of the wind by this wood. We'll call it Pooh Corner, and we'll make it the best house Eeyore has ever seen." Excited by their plan, the two friends set off to gather sticks. As they worked, they hummed the snowy tune, their hearts full of joy at the thought of surprising Eeyore with his very own house. They piled up sticks, one by one, and carefully built a sturdy little shelter for their dear friend. Meanwhile, Eeyore was trudging through the snow, his tail dragging behind him. He made his way to Christopher Robin's house, where he knocked on the door with a glum look on his face. "Hello, Eeyore," said Christopher Robin, opening the door. "How are you today?" "It's still snowing," Eeyore replied gloomily. "And freezing. But at least we haven't had an earthquake recently." Christopher Robin chuckled. "Come inside, Eeyore. You'll catch cold out here." Eeyore sighed and stepped inside, shaking the snow off his fur. "Christopher Robin," he said quietly, "I suppose you haven't seen a house anywhere around here, have you?" "A house? What kind of house?" "A house for me," Eeyore said sadly. "I built one this morning, but when I came back it was gone. Disappeared just like that." Christopher Robin's face lit up. "Let's go find it, Eeyore. I'm sure it's around here somewhere." The two friends set off into the snow, looking for Eeyore's lost house. As they walked, they heard something in the distance, a song. It was Pooh's song, with Piglet's little tiddly palms ringing out through the trees. "That's Pooh," said Christopher Robin. "And Piglet. Let's follow the singing." They hurried through the snow, following the cheerful voices. Soon, they rounded the corner and saw Pooh and Piglet standing proudly next to a brand new house made of sticks.
Pooh.
"Piglet," called Christopher Robin. "What are you doing?" Pooh turned around, his face beaming with excitement. "We've built Eeyore a house," he said proudly. "Right here at Pooh Corner." Eeyore blinked in surprise. "A house?
For me?"
"Yes,"
Piglet exclaimed.
"It's just for you, Eeyore. We thought you might need a warm place to stay in the snow." Eeyore slowly walked around the house, inspecting every stick. His usually gloomy face softened into a small smile. "It's quite nice," he said softly. "Thank you, Pooh." "Thank you, Piglet." Pooh and Piglet beamed with pride. "That's what friends are for," said Christopher Robin, giving Eeyore a big hug. Together, the friends admired Eeyore's new house as the snow continued to fall gently around them. And as they stood there, with the warmth of friendship in their hearts, they sang Pooh's song once more. "The more it snows, the more it goes on snowing. And nobody knows how cold my toes are growing." And though the snow kept falling, it couldn't match the warmth that filled Eeyore's heart that day. He had a new home, and more importantly, he had friends who cared for him. Pooh Corner was now complete, with Eeyore's house standing proudly among the trees, a symbol of the love and kindness that always brought the 100 Acre Wood together.